Welcome to another episode of Resilience Rising with Naturally Cinnamon. Hey, loves. Welcome to another episode of the Resilience Rising podcast. As usual, I am coming to you on this glorious Wednesday, hoping that all is well in your lives and saying Happy Valentine's Day. So, let's just jump right into it. If you listen to the pilot episode, you'll know that I have formerly done Woman Law Wednesday videos. They were Facebook Live videos. And basically, we came every Wednesday, or at least I tried to. I missed a couple Wednesdays here and there. Those videos are locatable on YouTube if you want to follow the link to my YouTube page. For those who are not currently watching me on YouTube and you're listening to this podcast, it is bit.ly/naturallysyn YouTube. You can always go to my webpage, www.naturallycinnamon.com, and find all of my links to social media, to any of the videos, to the podcast, and where you can find other platforms of the podcast and everything. But for those of you who can see me, you can see I'm kind of lounging in my recliner. I'm kind of chilling tonight. It's the night before Valentine's Day, and I'm ready to just receive all the love that's coming my way, and getting ready for this podcast to come out. But one thing that you'll know is that I'm, like I said, I'm revamping and doing a lot of things. And one of the segments of this podcast is a Woman Law Wednesday. And Woman Law Wednesday is basically about regaining our womanly strength and not acting like little girls at times. When I was a child, I spoke as a child, but when I became an adult, I put childish things away. And every now and then we can let our emotions get the best of us and start acting like little girls again, but we are not. We are women, and we will stand in our adulthood and our grownness and be women. So I want to revisit a Woman Law Wednesday video, which I'm going to insert here. It was originally recorded May 2017, and it's entitled, You Don't Have to Perform for Love. Woman Law Wednesday. I decided to step outside because the weather is wonderful. For those of you who don't know, I come to you from sunny Miami, Florida, and it's very tropical. Right now there's a breeze. It's a little cooler than it usually is this time of year, so I'm enjoying the weather, and I invite you to join it with me. Now, I will say before I get started that some poor owner left their dog, and I think they've been gone a little bit longer than their dog is comfortable with. So the dog is barking. So you may hear a dog bark from time to time throughout this video. It's just the dog that's waiting on his owner to come home from work. That's what's going on. He or she is not in pain. They're just a little lonely. So let's get into the topic for our first episode back for Woman Law Wednesday. Now, the topic of this episode is you don't have to perform for love. And guess what? You don't. You don't have to perform for love. We may perform for likes. We may perform for money. We may perform for attention. There are different reasons why people perform, but love should not be one of them. So let's examine. We do live in a society where things are what people want things to be what they seem. So if I make it seem a certain way, then maybe that's what it is. So if I make myself seem like I'm a certain person, maybe you'll see me like I'm that person because I made myself out to be that way. We see it all the time on social media. We see it sometimes even in person at work, at church too. We see it from time to time. Where does that come from? What is that about? I think it has something to do with performance validation. Performance validation is what we learn at work, what we learn at school, what we learn in college. If we perform a certain way, then our performance will be validated by what we receive on the back end. For example, if I perform well with my evaluation at work, I will keep my job, or I will get a raise, or I will get a promotion. If I perform well on these tests, I'll get a good grade at the end of the course or at the end of the semester. Or I'll graduate with honors, or I'll get a scholarship for the next level of what it is that I'm trying to do. So there are different ways where we are validated by how we perform. Well, think about it as acting. Think about actors and actresses and singers and dancers. The feeling of getting that standing ovation and the feeling of getting called back and invited back and people applauding you really keeps them going. That's why they practice so hard, because they do have a craft that they're perfecting, and they do have what's the word I'm looking for here? Well, they're proud of what they do. So they do want to perfect it more and more and hone their craft and really get it to being wonderful. And that's an inward validation. But there's also, what if you do all of that and not one person claps for you in the end? You may wonder, did I really do a good job? Or maybe I could have done a better job because I didn't get the result that I thought I was going to get, that I hoped to get, that I would have liked to get towards the end. So, a lot of times though, a lot of people equate, take that mindset of performance validation on stage, in school, at work, and we carry it into areas that we really shouldn't carry it. And one of the places we bring it is in relationships. Now, I am not only speaking of romantic relationships, I'm also speaking of familial relationships, of friendships, and things of that sort. So let's say you've got a family member, or you are a family member that is always being asked to do something. I have to do, well, that's my cousin, so I have to put up with it. Well, that's my brother, so I have to deal with him. That's my sister, so when she calls me, I have to answer the phone. Because you're looking to be validated by what you're doing for that person. You are looking for someone somewhere to say how great of a person you are and how wonderful of a family member you are. And you can always call on so and so because you know she'll always pick up the phone and she'll always be there for you. You're getting validated for your performance. Well, what happens when the performance, what the things that you're doing and the actions that you are doing all the time starts to drain you? It starts to bleed you of your emotional wellness. Really got to be cautious about that, because you may get the validation, but what did you sacrifice in the meantime as you are seeking this validation based on your performance? I'm going to repeat that question. What have you sacrificed while you were seeking validation for your performance? Be careful about that. That carries also into romantic relationships. I hear women all the time, girl, he ain't doing this. He didn't do that. He used to do this and he stopped doing that. And when I met him, he did this and I fell in love with him. Well, did you fall in love with him, or did you fall in love with what he did? Did you fall in love with what you thought he could do for you and continue to do for you? Tough questions to ask yourself, but do take the time to ask yourself these questions. Are you validating the person for who they are, or are you validating the person for what they're doing? Are you being validated for who you are, or are you being validated for what you do? Because here's the real truth and the nuggets of this. You are not, who you are is not the same as what you do. What you do is not the same as who you are. That's just something that you did. Now, you may have done it out of the kindness of your heart, but that doesn't mean that what you do is that who you are is that action that you did. That means that who you are is a kind and generous person. Don't get the two mixed up. If I cooked dinner for someone and I did it out of the kindness of my heart, I did not become a chef. I did not become a cook. I did not become a baker. That's not who I am. Who I am is somebody who saw a need and filled it. That's who I am as a person. I'm a giver. I'm a caring person, but I'm not a cook, a chef, or a baker. So be careful with who you are and what you do being confused and mixed and mingled. And so I'll leave you with this. Don't let your performance define who you are, because you don't have to perform for love. Be who you are and let those that will love you, love you. Let those that are going to love you, not what you do, not what you do, not what you do. You do not have to perform for love. I hope you enjoyed that throwback. I did. I enjoyed hearing it again. What brought that video to my memory was this past Sunday, just a few days ago. I had a conversation with a young lady. She's like my little sister. I love her. And we were having a catch up conversation. Y'all know what catch up conversations are when you don't see or talk to somebody on a regular basis, like every day or even every week. It's been a few months since we had a conversation, so we needed a catch up convo. And in this catch up convo, we were talking about this guy that she's been seeing loosely sometimes, off and on loosely, but they've developed a pretty good friendship over the time that they've dated. But it's kind of along the lines that she is really more interested in a relationship and him not so much, at least not at this time. Now listen, I have no problem with people owning where they are and owning what they want at this point, at that whatever point in life they're in. I have no problem with that. However, if you are stringing someone else along knowing that they want something that you are not wanting at that time, or also not willing to even consider giving, don't keep them hanging on for your own comfort or your own feel good or whatever it is. Like, because there are some people, not just women, but since I specifically talk to women and I was talking to a woman at this particular point in time, I'll just deal from a perspective of a woman. We have a tendency at some point in life of thinking that if we do the right things for the right amount of time, some guy will wake up one morning and say, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and make her my girlfriend, or I'm going to go ahead and make her my wife, or I'm going to go ahead and, fill in the blank thing of whatever it is you want this guy to do. And we think that if we paint ourselves in a certain light, that they will react the way we want them to react. Okay, first of all, that's kind of manipulative if you really think about it. And second of all, that is a ginormous waste of time. Now, one thing I had to keep reminding her is she's 23. I'm 38. I've learned some stuff. Like when I was 23, I thought the same way. If I just stick around long enough, he'll come around. He'll realize how valuable I really am. He'll see that, it's worth it over here, with the cinnamon in his life. And I did all that. I did that. And let me tell you, I did it for a really long time with a man that I never dated. We never went on a date. Not just that he didn't make me his girlfriend. We never went on a date. I think, if memory serves me correctly, I think we talked on the phone one time. I'll say twice just in case there's one I forgot, but there's one that I can remember. One time we actually spoke on the phone, had a conversation, and let me tell you, that was the shortest, most awkward conversation. It was a trip. Nobody knew what to say because we did not know each other. We did not know each other. So here I am showing him that I could be this upscale, nice, dressing nice, always looking nice, always being super friendly and understanding and patient woman, when really he did not want a relationship with me, and wasn't going to say that outright because he was enjoying the benefits of me. And by benefits, I'm not speaking physically intimate or sexually. I'm not speaking like that. I'm talking about the benefits. So one thing I did tell her is, I was like, one thing I learned from a couple of, failed relationships or failed attempts at relationships was that what they really loved wasn't cinnamon. It was the effects of cinnamon, the essence of cinnamon, all the happiness I would bring them, all the ease that I would bring them, because I would take care of certain things for them that they didn't have to take care of themselves. The list can go on and on. Helping them with their family situations, helping them with their finances. Now, I did not say I went in my pocket and helped them. I did that on one time, but that's another podcast. But I'm not saying that I was their open bank, but I would help them get their financial situation together using their own money. In one particular relationship, I helped him get his legal situations together. I do a lot, not because I want people to love me, but because my love language is acts of service. I speak through what I do. I'm letting you know how I feel about you by what I do for you, not because I'm looking for you to begin to love me. But you got to know there is a difference. But anyway, back to the story at hand. She's holding on, hoping that one day it will result in what she wants. Well, how do we know that's going to happen? How do we know that one day he'll wake up and say he does want to be in a relationship or he is ready to be in a relationship? And how do you know that he's going to wake up one day and be ready to be in a relationship with you? Could be with somebody else. You don't know that. In the meantime, because you're not comfortable, because you're not getting what you think you need and deserve, you're hurting in the process. And it's not that necessarily that he's hurting her feelings on purpose, but that doesn't mean that her feelings aren't hurting on a regular basis. And so we had a very long talk. It was a very good talk, I think. And one thing, like I said, I had to keep reminding her because she thinks I'm so wise. I've been through some stuff, I've been through and in and out and up and down, and it is what it is. But one thing I have learned is this: when you recognize and realize what your worth is and what your value is, it becomes that much easier when you meet up with somebody who's not willing to pay the price to be with you, or not just pay the price to be with you. Somebody who does not recognize your worth, or even that you have worth to begin with. One thing I did was, when I started to recognize my worth, was when I was dating, I would pay attention to whether or not the person I'm spending time with even knows that I have value. Do you know that there's value in me? Not in what I do, in me. If you know that there's value in me, it may take you a little time to recognize how much value is in me. But step one, you recognize that there is value in me. That's a good thing, because there are some jokers out there that I wasted time on that didn't even recognize that there was value in cinnamon, that cinnamon has worth. Let's fix that. Let's cross them off the list of possibilities. You're gone. Thank you for playing. Doesn't make you a horrible person. Doesn't mean I'm going to start walking around talking so dirty about you. You're just not somebody that I'm going to continue to spend time on or with. Moving on. Next, is there somebody that recognizes how much worth I have? Doesn't mean that they put me up on a pedestal and think that I'm some porcelain doll or anything, but you do know that, this woman, she's really great. She brings value into my life, and I really want to be with her, and I want to make sure that I can keep her, because she is just amazing. And notice I never said what she does for me is amazing. I can't go a day without her doing blah, blah, blah. Not saying that. Not saying that. It's not about what I would or would not do for someone. It's about who I am to someone that helps me realize what type of person this is. What kind of character do you have? Another thing that she and I talked about was the fact that you're dating. There's nothing wrong with dating, but dating does not a relationship make. I'm going to say that again. For a lot of chicks out there, ladies, women, listen to me. Dating does not a relationship make. You're going on a few dates. That's great. Doesn't mean you're in a relationship. You're just on some dates. Now, I know I'm going to get a lot of questions. Well, then how do you know you're in a relationship? That is actually variable between the two people. But in my opinion, for me personally, it's got to be spoken. We both have to have a conversation, because I have to know that we're on the same page as far as, number one, what is a relationship to you? What's a relationship to me? What are your expectations of me? What are my expectations of you? What constitutes a relationship
what are the rules of this, of a relationship, as far as you're concerned? Are you allowed to go on dates with other people as if you have a relationship? Because as far as I'm concerned, you can't go on dates with other people if you're in a relationship with me. Like, that ain't what we doing around this part. So a conversation has to actually happen before I can say, yeah, I'm in a relationship with such and so. I have to have the conversation with that person. Otherwise, I'm not going to walk around just assuming that we're in a certain place that we might not actually be in. He may not feel that we're in the same place that I feel we're in. But how do we know that unless we have a conversation about it? So for me personally, I'm not in a relationship with anybody until he and I have had a conversation about being in a relationship and we're on the same page and we both agree, yes, we're in a relationship. Until that, we're dating. We talking on the phone. We hanging out. We chilling. Whatever, word you want to attach to that, that's what we're doing. But I'm not going to bend over backwards and break my neck trying to make somebody see what my worth is. And I'll leave you with this. The last thing that I said to her was, you have to know what type of person you're dealing with. If you're talking about a person that is hurting you, we don't know that he's doing it on purpose. We don't know that. If you're in a dating stage, dating is very much an interview. You're getting to know that person. You're seeing if they're fit for the job. They're seeing if you're fit for the job, et cetera, et cetera. And I'll say there are three different things that I left her with. And I said, one of those is you have to know, number one, if the person is malicious. Number two, if they're ignorant. And number three, if they just don't care. And this is about a person who, when you're dating someone, you're getting to know them. People are getting to know you as well. And they may or may not know how to communicate with you. And so they may say something that gets on your nerves or hurts your feelings. And you may say something that gets on their nerves or hurts their feelings. You're getting to know each other. But you get to know people not just by their words, but by their actions, by their deeds, by their behaviors, by their patterns of behaviors. That's how you really get to know people. And so I gave her an example of being able to determine whether someone is malicious, ignorant, or just doesn't care. Let's say that she and I were, at the time it was after church. Church had just finished and we were standing around talking and we were in a hallway. So I said, let's say that I'm in the same hallway every Sunday at the same time and with the same people, or like it's the same scenario every time. Okay. Let's say that as I'm walking through this hallway, I am stepping on everybody's feet. I'm stepping on everybody's toes and I'm hurting them with my heels. Okay. In this scenario, if I'm a malicious person, I will stand at the end of the hall and map out where everybody's feet are so I can make sure I step on them with my heel to make sure that I hurt them. I am purposefully causing harm and hurt to someone else. That is a malicious person. I planned it, I did it, and I feel no remorse. I'll probably do it again next Sunday if everybody's standing in the same hall again. That is a malicious person. You don't want malicious people in your life, in your circle, in any way, shape, or form. Then there's ignorant people. If I'm stepping on everybody's toes and I just don't know that you're standing there, I just don't know that you're going to be there. I'm ignorant. I'm not paying any attention to what's going on around me. That's an ignorant person. I can work with ignorant people because that gives me a chance to say, hey, come here. Let me talk to you for a second. Did you notice that you were stepping on people's toes? Did you notice when people were yelling in pain that it really hurt when you jabbed your heel into their foot? That kind of thing. I can try to educate and help, bring awareness to the situation. Now, so that's an ignorant person. They just don't even know that they hurt your feelings. They don't even know that what they said got under your skin. They don't even know that, when they say, oh, I'm gonna call you back, by not calling you back, that makes you feel forgotten or rejected. They don't know. They don't know. So bring it to their attention, but not in a way that makes them the malicious person. Because remember, the malicious person did it on purpose. So the ignorant person, they just don't know. Then there's the person that just doesn't care. Let's say you pull them to the side and say, listen, when you walk through the hall, you're stepping on everybody's toes and it really hurts everybody. And they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Didn't even notice. All right, cool. Next Sunday comes up. They do it again. You pull them aside. Look, remember, be mindful of where you walk and be, look at where people's feet are as opposed to where your feet are and, whatever. It's, oh, okay, okay, okay. I'll go ahead and do that. The following Sunday, they do it again. And be like, look, sis, seriously speaking, you are hurting people. Like, pay attention to that. I don't know. Maybe come out earlier before everybody gets in the hallway or wait later until everybody's gone or wear flat shoes. Like, I don't know. Like, make some adjustments because you're hurting a lot of people and it's happening repeatedly. Oh, okay, okay, okay. I'll do that. And then the next Sunday, this makes the fourth Sunday in a row, I do it again. I just don't care. I've just shown you that I just don't care. I've done something to hurt you. You bring it to my attention. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. But I don't put anything in place to try to do it differently. The best apology is changed behavior. So if somebody is hurting you, if somebody wakes up and they doing things to intently hurt you, that's a malicious person. That's who they are. And it's somebody who doesn't even know that they're hurting you and they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know, and they make a genuine effort to do something differently. That was just an ignorant person. They didn't know that they were hurting you. You can give them a couple more chances. But the person that just don't care means, oh yeah, okay, whatever you say, I'm gonna do what I want to do anyway. And if it hurts you, then I don't know what to tell you. That's the person that just don't care. So as you're dating someone and you're saying you want to be in a relationship with them and you're telling them that, the longer it waits, the more uncomfortable you're becoming with them, start to pay attention with, is this person maliciously just dragging you along? Like, yeah, I'm going to do this to her this week. And when I feel her pulling away from me, I'm going to do just enough to get her attention back, just so I can keep her stringing along that much longer. Is it a malicious person? Is it an ignorant person? Is it a person that just doesn't know that that's the way, that the way they're doing things is making you uncomfortable or it may even be hurting your feelings or making you feel rejected in some sort of way? Maybe they don't know. That ignorant person, you can have a conversation with them and see where it goes from there. Now, if they continue with this pattern of behavior because they're just refusing to think about it and they're just being oblivious to the whole situation, that person is showing you they don't care about your feelings and they want to do what they want to do to make their own lives happy, comfortable, and wonderful. You make your choice on how you're going to deal with being with those people, but at least you know who they are. At least I know a malicious person is a malicious person. So when I see you coming, I'm going to move. I'm going to get out the way because I just don't want to deal with you. An ignorant person, I look at your efforts. Are you making an effort? Are you at least trying? I'll give you that. But a person that just don't care, save your words, save your time. I treat people who don't care like the malicious person. I'm just not going to give you my time, energy, and patience. I'm just not going to do that. But what you don't have to do is stick around like some society is trying to tell some of these young girls out here that the longer you wait around for a dude, the more well, we've been at this for 9 years. I guess we might as well go ahead. They're teaching you that you have to put up with whatever you get for a long period of time in order to get what you actually want or feel that you deserve from another person. No, you don't. No, you don't. You actually don't have to do that. But society is teaching you that. Reality shows are teaching you that. Celebrities are teaching you that. Music is teaching you that. Yeah, I don't subscribe to that magazine. I don't subscribe to that particular podcast. So, but it's up to you. Different strokes for different folks. That just don't work for me. So as you move forward in whatever kind of relationships you have, just know that we have performance validation. We may have to perform for the grades that we want. We may have to perform for the paycheck or the raise that we want. But one thing we should never have to perform for is love. Have a good one, everybody. Enjoy your day with your loved ones. If you're single and you've got nobody to mingle with, honey, mingle with yourself. Some best times are times spent alone. Don't knock it. Later.
Thanks for tuning in to Resilience Rising with Naturally Cinnamon. Life has a way of tossing unexpected trials and circumstances our way. We can't stop them, but we can better handle them by raising our resilience. Creative Director Jeremy Key for J Key Collective. Music by AJ Miles.